And a very good day to all of you, and welcome to All Access Pass. I am your host, Jason, and today we have a fantastic show. Are you ready to go? We will be hosting these shows throughout the cruise, and I can tell you right now, we'll have a variety of guests between your amazing MC, Jerry Blavitt, and I on this stage, and today is certainly no exception. I am honored to have not one, not two, but three of the pioneers, really, of the ladies' sounds of that 50s and 60s malt shop era. First and foremost, I'd like you to put your hands together and welcome to the stage the one and only Miss Shirley Alston Reeves. If you could just come out of your shell a little bit, please. Right behind Shirley is going to be, and another young lady you know very well, from the Chiffons, Ms. Judy Craig Mann. Gorgeous as ever. And last, but certainly not least, our surprise guest today from the Crystals, Miss Dee Dee Kenniebrew. Ladies, thank you so much for being here with us. We do love it and appreciate it, and it's very kind of you to take your time out of your cruise vacation, right? It's a cruise vacation?
We're working.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I forgot.
We're working, girls.
I forgot. I love having all three of you up here at the same time, which I think is fantastic, because you really, truly pioneered a lot of that 50s, 60s sound. I mean, you're the backgrounds initially. I mean, you know, your voices and your styles are the backgrounds on so many records that people just don't even know about. They don't even realize it's you. And last year we had a young lady, Ms. Darlene Love, who told us a lot of stories, obviously, about what it was in that era. So I will ask, I'll start with you, if you'd be so kind, Ms. Reeves, to say, what was it like coming up, and how did the group start? How did you even realize you wanted to do it?
Well, actually, I was going to be a hairdresser.
You're being a hairdresser? Oh.
That's what I wanted to be. But all the guys were singing in the neighborhood, and they were in the, singing down in the basement in the apartment buildings, and they were doing this beautiful harmony. So the other surviving member of the Shirelles, actually, we were babysitting, and we decided that we wanted to sing also, but not professionally, you know, just to fool around and sing. And so it was the two of us. Then we incorporated our neighbor and our good friend Mickey. And then we got Doris, whose father was a reverend, a preacher, and he says, "No way, Jose." And she's singing rock and roll. But anyway, and we sang, we wrote a little song entitled "I Met Him on a Sunday," Do Ronde Ronde. Mm-hmm. And we sang it on a talent show in Passaic High School talent show. And to our surprise, we got a standing ovation for that song, you know? And we just wrote a song about the days of the week, and just it was a cute little song. And Mary Jane Greenberg, whose mom owned a record company, asked us to sing for her mom. She was in the audience. And we should take the other route home to keep from, to avoid her, because she was after us every day. But anyway, we agreed to do it, and we sang for her mom. And she wanted to put us on Ted Mack Amateur Hour. Anybody go back that far?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was, and she wanted us actually for a project for her son who was blind. His name is Stanley Greenberg, and he put the music to "I Met Him on a Sunday" because we could not write the notes, but we sang it for him, and he jotted the notes down, and that became our very first record, and here we are.
And I read a cute little story about how that was written. Would you mind? How did you come up with that song? I mean, you're young girls and you're putting a song together. How did you write that song? How does that song come to be?
Well, we sat in the apartment. We should be watching the baby. But anyway.
You mean where you should have been babysitting?
Yeah, we were babysitting.
I'm sure it was fine in the backyard. You put newspaper down. That kid was fine. Yeah, it's no big deal.
He was sleeping.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
So we couldn't come to, everyone said, think of something, say something. I said, listen, just say, just take one day. Somebody say, take a day of the week, you know. And they said, like what? I said, well, I met him on a Sunday. And then Mickey came in, and I missed him on a Monday. And the other one came in, she says, well, I phoned him on a Tuesday. And Beverly, I dated him on Wednesday. And then he kissed him on a Thursday. And then he didn't come back Friday. When he showed up Saturday, he said, bye-bye, baby. I know you know it. Deep down in there, run there, run there, run there. It was a cute little song. Yeah, we made the charts and that was it. We were on our way.
Judy, how about the chiffons?
Okay, the chiffons. The chiffons got together by the young man, Ronnie Mack, who wrote our very first record, He's So Fine. He wrote that song. And he did all the legwork. You know, he took us out and got the demonstration record. That's, you know, it was demos back then.
Yes.
And he went to different record companies trying to get people to, you know, listen to it. And finally, he came across a group called the Tokens, Siegel's Tokens. And they liked what they heard. They called us in. We recorded it, and that was it.
And on you go.
And on we go.
And history is written. It's that easy. How about the Crystals, Dee Dee? I know.
Okay, there were 5 of us, I must say first. That's a lot of girls. That's a lot of teenagers.
That's a lot of girls in one confined area.
My mom worked in a junior high school, and there was a guy in the neighborhood who played saxophone in the big bands, an older guy, and he wanted to start a girls group, and he actually had something to do with the Chantels at one time. There was a girl named Annette. He said, I want to do a girls group, but they used to let him use the music room in school. It was called PS 73. And so it was in Brooklyn, and he asked my mother, who worked in the office, do you know any teenage girls that sing? She said, well, I got a daughter who sings around the house. She said, I'll bring her in. Yeah, she said, I'll bring her
Just
in.
that simple. She sings around the house. Can't shut her up.
My mom had a beautiful voice, and she would always sing, and I always liked to sing, but I was always shy to sing in front of anybody. So she brought me in, and he said, okay. So he put me with some girls from that neighborhood. But those girls were a little bit wild, and he said, no, I don't like this group. He said, because I want a group that's going to be very focused. These girls were focused on boys. He said, So, so he had a niece named Barbara Alston, and he heard that she had done a talent show at her school, at a high school, and he said, can you bring the girls in because they had come in second that you used on the talent show? So he put me with them. He listened to me, so he put me with, so there was the 4 of us, me, Barbara, Mary, and a girl named Myrna. And he started rehearsing us in this music room every day. We come, and I was having great fun because my mother was horrible. She didn't let me go anywhere. But she would let me come because she was there. So we rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed, and then he says, okay, now we need some original material. So he took us over to another part of Brooklyn, which was out in East New York, and where a guy had some original material. His name was Leroy Bates. And he started rehearsing. Well, when we got to Leroy's house, he lived with his mother-in-law who had who had a daughter who was just our age. Her name was Patricia Wright. So he said, why don't we make it five girls? So she joined us. And then we started rehearsing. And he used to use us a lot on stuff like day by day, I'm falling more in love with you. You know, the 5-part harmony on those kind of things, because he was trying to gear us really toward doing a lot of the clubs and stuff, although we weren't even old enough to be in them, but that's what he trained us on. And so we did that, and then we figured after we had enough songs from the original stuff, we had stuff like Signify and Sadie. You know, this guy had some original stuff. And so we said, okay, we got about 5 or 6 songs under the belt that are popular songs. We'll go to Broadway. So we said, well, we need a name. What are we going to call ourselves? He had a little girl named Crystal. I said, okay, we're the Crystals. Oh, great. So he started knocking on doors, taking us around, and finally, one night, Phil Spector came in. We were at the Brill Building, those who might know the Brill Building. And he said, are you girls signed to anybody? We said, no. He said, do you want to record? We didn't know who this guy was. But our manager knew this little elfin guy. And so when he left, he said, he just did a hit for Gene Pitney. We said, oh, really? So we were, you know, and he told us, please sing that song again. He said, slow it down. And he made this song. It was a song called There's No Other Like My Baby, which was originally called He's All Right. He said, no, don't do it. Don't do the chorus, just do that. So we did. And we recorded it. In 3 hours, we had both sides at Mirror Sound Studios. And we never did one in 3 hours again.
All from one little elfish guy.
That's right.
Who knew? All right, ladies, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more All Access Pass. Welcome back. Here we are with more All Access Pass. Now, it is an absolute honor to have Shirley, Judy, and Dee Dee here on stage with me. And I've got to ask, Girls Night Out. We talked a little bit about where we started. Let's talk about where we are now. How does Girls Night Out come together? How did it come together? How did it get to where we are here enjoying you on a cruise ship?
Well, actually, Randy Irwin, my manager, came up with the idea, and I don't want to tell you how it is in case you're going to come and see the show now. So I don't want to give you the secret of what we're doing.
Don't give it away.
But it's not exactly the same thing. Like you come to my show, you see me, and you go to their show, you see them. But you're going to see us all together, and I'm going to give away something.
Don't give it away.
And anyway, this was his baby, and he's been talking about it for the longest time. It's getting on my nerves.
So you did it just to shut him up. That's really what it is.
Yeah, so I said, well, okay. So we talked to one another, and we said, okay, we'll do it. We'll try it with the 3 girls on stage at the same time.
And tell us about what's the tour schedule like? What are you doing? Where are you taking it?
This is the very first time
This-
we're doing it. So
this
you're
is our
getting
very
an
first time.
original.
You're going to hear it. Yes.
So you can tell everybody you were there.
That's right.
That's right.
Now, and if you really enjoy yourself, please let it and come and see us again whenever we're playing in your neighborhood.
Right.
And we will be around, okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously with such powerful presences like all 3 ladies, you mentioned it was a lot to have 5 teenage girls in a room. What's it like to have 3 superstar women in a room?
You know what? I tell everybody, we were so green, we were yellow. We weren't green yet. I never even saw a show till we did one. Never, you know? The first show we did was at the Apollo Theater. I'm like, whoa. I don't know why they didn't boo us off.
Rude question. How old were you when you did the Apollo Theater? How long ago was it?
Was 15 when we did the
15
Apollo.
years old.
Okay.
So just last year.
Yeah.
Recent.
Oh, boy.
Recent.
Oh my! I was so scared, and I just focused on one kid in the audience, and I just looked at him and stared and smiled.
We were afraid too,
petrified.
Dee Dee, so
That
we
kid-
we were all nervous when we
Apollo's
played the
a
Apollo.
rough audience.
That's right.
Really rough.
You know, and they're sitting there looking, and if you're not too good, they want to know what you got, what else you have.
Who's next?
They had pity on us.
Yeah, they did. They called us the sweethearts of the Apollo, so it was really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And now that you're all obviously so accomplished and you've done so much in your careers, what's it like working together,
That's great.
collaborating?
We do it a lot.
Every now and then we would work together, and I always love working with the girls. You know.
Well, no, but he means
We-
what we're doing,
well,
the way we're doing
the,
it now.
Yeah.
the thing we're doing now is going to be a first, as Judy
Yeah.
said.
Mhm.
We have worked together. You do your bit, you do your bit, you do your. But now
Right.
we're going to do all of our bits together.
Together.
So we shall see.
That's a lot of bits.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot of bits.
That's mixing bits
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
That's
But it's going to be a lot of fun.
I don't know if they're ready to mix bits.
We're having a good time. I can't remember anything. I can't remember my lines.
Just show up on
I
stage.
told her, don't worry, because you'll know the song.
That's
so just
right.
When she drops out, jump in.
Jump in. That's right.
Judy just put you, as we say, on blast right there. When
sure
Shirley
did.
falls off, just someone else pick up the note. You'll be fine. That's what is so as you're building Girls Night Out and you're realizing you're going to try something new, you're going to try to do all 3 ladies together. Obviously,
Right.
you're mixing bits. What's the process like in terms of that? I mean, obviously, you all have major hits, great careers. What's the creative process like there?
Well, 9 females alone is a chore. If I thought it was a chore with 5,
Yeah.
you wait till you
Add
see
4.
All 9
of us
yeah.
on there at the
Yes.
same time.
We have
But
background
it'll be
singers.
fun because we all know each other anyway. So
Yes.
Oh, of course. I mean, I know there wouldn't be any drama, but the creative process has to be fun to a certain
Oh, yeah.
extent. I mean,
Yeah,
it's got to be a
it's fun.
blast,
Because let me
right?
tell you something. We were all in my room earlier rehearsing. So
Yes.
we were having a good time. You
Yeah.
know, so
Somebody
Singing
next-
my
Judy
lines, I was
says to
singing her
me,
lines.
"That's
Hey.
not it. It's like this."
You gotta put feeling into that. Okay.
The question is, was that on your song or one of Judy's songs that she was?
It wasn't on our song at all.
Neither
It
one
was
of
on
us.
another song we're doing. That's not how they did it. I said, okay.
Someone's got to keep people on task.
Yes.
Someone has to keep people on
Yes,
task.
yes,
That's
that was
exactly
so
how it
fun.
works.
was so much fun.
With an audience here that's anticipating a brand new show, without giving away the show, as you said, Shirley.
We gave away most of it.
Okay, since we've already done most of the show here, what would be your teaser? What would you, if you were gonna make a poster or put a teaser out? Why would people want? I mean, these people obviously are gonna love to come to the show. There's no question. But what's the teaser for people to come and see what you're about to do?
Well, I was thinking about wearing a bikini.
I'm in, Shirley. I'm in. You saw my wife. I need an upgrade, obviously, Shirley. It's us. We're in.
Your wife
We're
is
in.
fabulous.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
Oh, please. I know
Just kidding, of course.
I know where my bread is buttered. I'm married up in the world.
What
I'm
can
no
we
I
tell
son.
think
for
the
a teaser?
teaser would be not only will we be doing our own songs, but we'll be
Right.
doing other people's songs also.
Right.
So
The same as we do in our shows individually,
Mhm.
but we're doing a different group of songs. This,
Right.
this time.
Right. Yeah.
You're gonna like it.
So some of these songs we've done separately.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we've never done them all together and say, okay, you cut this part here. Okay, no, you're holding this one too long. That's not the right note on this one. Let's try. Oh, it was fun.
yeah.
Everybody's an expert at that point in time, right? Everybody's an expert.
And then we were doing it in the dress in her room without a band, so
Yeah, so-
we had to say, check our pitch and everything because you need a pitch usually. Somebody with a harmonica or something to
Yeah.
start. We did
Give
it.
you
We
your
sang in
key.
any keys, and we still came out pretty good. So,
Yeah.
hey,
We're in.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
So with the band, then it's going to be fabulous. Don't
Oh
worry.
yeah.
I have a question that always intrigues me that I love to ask stars of your stature.
Sure.
The first time you're on stage, right? It's butterflies, your nerves. You mentioned the Apollo, going out. What's it like now? Is it old hat, or do you still feel that same vibe? Do you still get excited? Is the first time every time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know I do.
Yeah. I do. Also.
I don't worry that much about it. Unless something's wrong. I'm like, okay, this band is not
yeah.
playing what I want to hear.
You know what it is? It's not that you're that scared. It's just that you want.
It's nervous energy.
Yeah. You once you get on the stage, you're fine. But you're like, before we go on, I tell my girls, I said, listen, don't talk to me right now. If we're standing behind backstage, don't talk to me because I'm getting my head in it.
Yes,
So I
right.
said, don't talk to me right now. But once I'm out there, I'm fine.
Yes. I just walk around and backstage, round and around, and around,
Right.
waiting, because I'm
With
thinking.
me, it's according to what audience. It's according to the venue.
Sure.
I can be on one venue. I was on one venue, and I'm not even going to mention it. Recently, I've only been doing these songs like 50 years. I was so nervous. And I never get nervous. I said, what the hell? We mess up with it. I was so nervous that I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, what am I supposed to be saying here? And the whole time I'm singing the songs, I'm like, that's not right. What am I? And I don't know why I was so nervous. But when I got off stage and I sat down and we went to eat, I actually lost consciousness. I had never been that anxious in my life. I'm like, whoa. So it's according to the venue. If it's something that's a little bit different.
Sure.
And then if you're if you're really pumped up and you're out there, I've done things like left out a song.
Yeah.
And I came off the stage and the MC would say to me, Judy, how come you didn't do One Fine Day? I said,
That's the one you left out.
I said, we did it. He said, no, you didn't. I said, but hey, it happens.
Of all the songs to leave out, too.
Well, we were in Myrtle Beach, and a few years back, and we were in the middle of the show, and I started to sing Tonight's the Night. I gave the speech that I wrote the song myself, told them when I wrote the song and all this stuff. I gave them this big introduction, and I sang the song. Then when I took my bow, the girls were standing at the other mics. I took my bow, and when I raised up from the bow, of course I was drenching wet with perspiration. I said, I started the same thing all over again. I started saying exactly the same words all over again. So the girls were standing saying, and the band guys standing like waiting for me with the hands up like, again she's gonna sing the song? And I said, what's the matter with you guys? Because they're back and everybody's looking. And the audience just stayed laughing, a little laughing. They didn't know what was going on, right? So they said, "You just sang that song." I said, "You have to forgive me, people." I said, "I'm having my own private summer up here." I was dying. I said, "You guys know exactly what I'm talking about when your wives open the windows in the middle of the night." Throw the window up. So from their flashing, it was, and everybody thought it was so cute, but I felt so funny. Yes.
Yeah, everyone has those moments where the wind blows and all of a sudden, that's all you hear between your ears is, where am I? They're all looking at me.
But you know what's so crazy with me is I'm more nervous about doing something like this than getting up on the stage and singing. Like, if I get up on the stage and you're saying, I'm looking at the same people, I'm fine, I'm talking to you, I'm okay. But sitting right here like this and you asking me questions, I'm like, oh, Lord, what?
So the next 10 minutes is all about you, Judy. The next 10 minutes is all about you. Do not change the channel, my friends. We'll be right back with more from All Access Pass. Hey, thanks for coming back. Here we are with one more segment of All Access Pass. This is the Break the Fourth Wall segment, and what I mean by that is in all the all-access passes that I host, I give the audience an opportunity to ask their questions. So the lovely, my lovely wife, Brittany, if she'll still have me after that last comment, will be coming down, and she gives out question cards, and you get an opportunity to ask the questions that you might have, and then our hosts, I will ask them, and our fabulous stars here will answer them for you. This is a great one right here. I like to start with this one. Nancy, all the way from Kansas, says, ladies, at what moment did you really feel that you had achieved success / made it?
I'm still waiting. Okay, Jude, tell him.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was when, let me see now. Oh, when we opened for the Beatles the very first time they came to the United States.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
I don't really know. You know what's funny? The Crystals, like I said, we didn't even all know each other. So when we got together, we didn't expect. We just thought it was fun to go in the studio. Never went in one, record. I was shocked when I came from school, put on the radio, and heard it. It's like, oh, it's on the radio. I don't think we really ever expected, like, we were more enthused with, oh, we're going to work with Gary U.S. Bonds. Oh, we're going to work with Sam Cooke. We were never really like, we have arrived. We never got there. You know, it was just like we didn't expect it, and we didn't really have ourselves pumped up for stardom.
But you personally, obviously, I mean, you have
Well, I have.
achieved great stardom. So for you personally, what time did you start to feel like, wow, okay, this is...
Well, maybe back in the day working with, I guess when we used to work with Dick Clark, and when we would work with Sam Cooke, he was my, or Jackie Wilson, and you were on the same bill. It's like, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know, because they wouldn't have you. So I guess it was that, but we always shied back from that, you know, that I love myself,
of course,
I think I'm brand. We didn't, we never went there.
And I remember getting goose pimples when I first heard, I met him on a Sunday on the radio, and as soon as it started, we were coming home from New York, going back to Jersey, and as soon as they started playing it, we got to the Lincoln Tunnel, and it cut off.
There you go.
Welcome to start...
We were turning the radio, nothing.
Speed up, speed up!
Oh, my goodness. We got...
Yeah, or back up,
It was
yeah.
over when we got out of the tunnel, but at least we got a little bit of it.
This one, Shirley, is directed at you, actually. This is from Lynn from New Jersey. And Lynn from New Jersey said, Shirley, who was the original foolish little girl?
Stand up, please, because I know you're out there.
Lynn, where are you?
Fleischer, right there.
Stand up, Lynn.
She's the original foolish little girl. and she likes to be known as that. You never told me why, though, Lynn. We got to find out what's going on in your life back there, kid.
Listen. It was you and your high school boyfriend.
Oh, that's what it was.
Okay.
Oh, that's so nice.
All right.
Well,
Weren't we
We
all?
all.
you weren't the foolish little girl.
I was just taking the line if no one else was going to. You understand?
Foolish little boy.
Yes, a foolish little boy.
We all had our foolish in there somewhere.
We've all had our moments, yes.
This question is regarding Carole King. Bob and Marianne from New York and Florida. Bob and Marianne are clearly cruising in sin. Are you from Florida and New York, or you split time? Snowbirds. Oh, I thought one of you's from New York and one was from Florida. I was like, all right, what kind of cruise is this? When was the last time you personally spoke to Carole King and regarding writing a new song for you?
I've been trying to catch that girl for years. Okay. I haven't spoken to her really in a long time. She was playing actually in Passaic at the Capitol Theater. It's not functional anymore. And I lived a few blocks away. My friend kept egging me on to go see her. I said, nah, I'm not gonna go to the show. Please come. And she said, just come with me. Okay, when I got there, then the usher recognized me, and then he went back there and told Carol I was there, and no, he didn't tell her I was there. He told me, asked me if I would come back there and meet and say something to her, say hello to her. He said it would be a nice thing because she had written a hit for me. So before she started to sing Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, I had walked, the hit took me all the way around, it took me through the back, and I was standing by the curtain. She saw me. She said, son of a gun. She said, this Shirley Owens. That was my maiden name. That's what she knew me by back then. She said, Shirley Owens is back there in the trail. And she called me out on stage, and we must have had about a 5-minute stand ovation. It was really beautiful.
All right.
For us
That's very
together.
special.
Yeah. She didn't let me sing it. She sang it.
Not so special.
But listen, I'll give you a little Carole King trivia because she wrote One Fine Day.
Mm-hmm.
And could you let me tell my story? This is why she,
That's
this
what
is why
happens
she
when
has
I-
a problem with me.
This is
Understand?
this is why you got to come to the show.
Yeah.
Cut her off.
Yeah.
Yes, Carole King played that original piano run in the beginning of
Yeah.
the song. She
Yeah.
played the piano on the record.
Yeah.
That was Carole
Ding,
King.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, she played on Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow also
Oh,
for
wonderful,
us.
wonderful.
She didn't like the way they were playing it. And,
Yep, that's
she
her.
went right out in the
Yeah.
studio because she kept rubbing her face and looking
Mhm.
like that. So she
Yeah.
talked to Florence. In a few minutes, she was out there playing.
There you go.
She started playing, yeah.
Carol's not playing games. She wants
doesn't play
this
games.
will be
She-
done
she-
right.
Yes.
John from Pennsylvania says, loved all of your music in the 50s, late 50s, early 60s. Who owns the rights to the music? For instance, for the Shirelles. Who owns the rights to the Shirelles music?
Florence Greenberg, she's gone. But her, her daughter and son and other people now, it just passes on and on. They pass it on and on. It's just it's a misfortune on the Shirelles' part not to have it. But back there you're young, you don't know,
Well,
you don't know the
right.
business, and those who do know the business will give you the business. Believe me.
Yeah.
What about the Crystals and the Chiffons? Similar.
Well, Warner Brothers owns ours.
Warner
Phil
Brothers.
Warner
Spector
Brothers,
owned
yeah.
everything. He was the producer, the writer, the record company. The only thing he didn't do was manage us, but all of the music he still retains.
Interesting.
Yes.
And this is actually a great follow-up he has at the bottom, because I think John was probably partially expecting that. If you had an opportunity to relive or redo any of your 50s career, what would you have done differently? Interesting.
I would tell everybody, and when people ask you a lot of times, well, what would you tell youngsters coming
Sure.
into business now? And a lot of them do know because they know the mistakes that we made.
Sure.
Learn the business before you will get the
The
business.
business.
Learn the business. Don't just
Yeah.
come in here and expect somebody else to take care of it for you. You better know what the business is
Well, they
before
kept
you
us on
jump
the
in.
road. They kept us on the road a lot, so we never. When we come off of a tour, we do 31-nighters, and then we come back into the city. Either they had something for us to record,
Right.
or they kept
worked
us
us-
busy. Then the next thing you know, we're out again. We're doing some other shows, and so you never got a chance to really think, well, where's my money going? Where's-
Brian, why don't
we were happy just to get dressed up, and go out there and sing and
You weren't
make friends.
encouraged
We
to-
were not taught, or they didn't encourage us
Right.
to do the right thing, and they should have really, because we were told that when we became 21 that we would that there was what do you call that when they put the money away for you? Trust fund.
Trust fund.
Yeah, well, don't trust everybody.
Don't trust that fund.
No fun. Partner fund. So when we became 21, I think they bought another building.
Yeah. And it's not named after you.
Not named after
No.
me. Nope.
Dang it. I know that we have to say goodbye from another episode of All Access Pets, but we have some more wonderful stars coming up later in the week. Do not miss them. And, of course, without question, do not miss these fabulous, fabulous ladies at Girls Night Out, a show coming to you very soon in the Main Stage Theater. Again, I'm your host, Jason. Let's hear it from Miss Shirley Alston Reeves, Judy, and Dee Dee.
We have CDs outside
Thanks for being with us.
of the three of us.
We'll see you on next episode of All Access Pass.